Welcome, I'm Mystery, and today we are focusing on historic metagame. What are the top players in MTG Arena playing, and why? I will use games I played at last two Qualifier weekends, and we will try to find what the players were playing and why. The Qualifier weekend is an esport event where you can play if you ended up at top 1200 Mythic at the end of the month. So the very best players are playing there, and you can learn a lot from them. In both qualifier weekends, I was playing the Selesnya company deck. And here are my results from the qualifier weekend at the end of the October. You might see there are 2 games against Merfolk, 2 games against Giantfoot, and some other games. I wasn't very happy about these matchups because Selesnya company deck is well positioned against the control decks, and I was hoping to play the control decks more. But the next qualifier weekend changed a lot. First of all, I was lucky enough to win all of the normal matchups. The Chant, the Phoenix, the Mirror. But on the other hand, there was a new deck, which was absolutely impossible to beat. The Loris Gorgari Sacrifice. And this deck is absolutely crazy. It's hard to disrupt, the Cat Owen combo is so strong. It can survive against the aggro deck, and especially the Collective Company deck, because the Mid-Hook Massacre main deck, it 4 copies, and playing against that felt absolutely terrible. Like, you have no chance to win. So, I won 7 games, but lost 2 to this specific deck. So going into the day 2 was hard. Should I play something else? Or should I stick to Collective Company? I decided to stick with Collective Company for 2 main reasons. First of all, I was hoping to get lucky and not to play the Golgar Sacrifice deck so often. And second, I was hoping that the players will expect the Golgar Sacrifice deck to be there and try to play some control deck. And of course, I was hoping to beat them and get some points. I was right, but not really. I was expecting some Jeskai control deck, and it wasn't the answer. Because the Jeskai control deck isn't so good as the Jeskai creativity deck. The Jeskai creativity deck has a possibility to bring a creature card from their deck into the battlefield. The creature is Serra's Emissary, and it is 7/7 flyer and gives itself and the player who controls it protection for some card type. And more often the card type is creatures. And because it's a 7/7 flyer, it can end the game quickly after that. I won all of the control matchups, lost all Golgari Sacrifice games, and then win the Mirror and lost a game against Goblins. I really thought that most of the games were decided when you see what your opponent is playing. When it's a control deck, then you win. When it's a Golgari Sacrifice deck, then you lose. So, not the best experience. Was there any better choice? What would I choose now? I guess there are some decks which can play all of the matchups with some chances. First of all, I like Phoenix deck. It has chances against all the previous deck. It can overrun the Collective Company because their creatures have flying, are quite quick, and the Collective Company deck might not be fast enough. And after the sideboard, you might try to control them with some board wipes and play your game pretty easily. I would say it's maybe 50-50. Then, against the Golgari deck, you have a chance because you have flyers and the Cat Owen can stop creatures on the ground, but not the flyers. So I guess it's quite a good matchup as well. And against the control, yeah, the Phoenixes are quite fast. When you can stuck them on the graveyard, they are hard to remove. It's not a bad matchup. On the other hand, I think that the goblins are a good choice as well. Their combo with Muxus is faster. It can bring a lot of goblins at once. It's hard to disrupt because you eventually get to the 6 mana and then you kill them. And against the control decks, which can of course counter spell your Muxus, you can turn the deck in quite potent, aggressive goblin deck with lots of hasters and just drain them to death. So these are these decks I would recommend. Of course, you might try something similar to these, some pretty strong combo deck to win the game at once. Maybe you can inspire yourself from best of one decks and try them. At the end, I would like to mention some card choices which might help you when building your deck. First of all, there is a Gravedigger's Cage. If you won't be using your graveyard or library, then play the Gravedigger's Cage, maybe even a main deck, because all other deck mentioned there use something from the library or graveyard. Of course, this Cat Oven combo brings the cat from the graveyard. Gravedigger's Cage stop that. The Collective Company or Creativity brings card from the library. Gravedigger's Cage stop that. So pretty good card in current meta. Definitely put that in your sideboard if you are not playing some decks which will use these effects. And there is a Containment Priest. Maybe it's time to switch to the mono white humans and try to use this card to stop what your opponent is doing. So these are my recommendations. That's my feeling about the meta these days. I hope you enjoy the content and see you next time.